convince Mom to remarry him because they were.
Good morning, and welcome to Today in L.A. My name is Mike Amos. His name is Bill Rice Jr. As we start I reckon we started in February, don't we?
No, well, it's the last day of January.
And hope everybody's doing well.
January has 31 days. You know, I've never really been able to know which days have 30 and which have 31. How about you? There's a little limerick that you could remember. 30 days has September, April, but I don't think I got the limerick right.
Yeah.
But January has 31 days.
Yeah, hopefully so. But of course, February has
usually 28, except for leap year.
For leap year, is this a leap year, or do we know?
You know, it might be. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
I hope everybody had a good weekend. I did. Took advantage of a beautiful days down at the beach, and then came back and saw the Troy basketball game. And Troy comes back and beats the Jaguars of South Alabama, and evens that series up to 28 games.
28 days in February. No leap year. This is not leap year.
Yeah. 28 days in.
For some reason I thought it was like 2022 or every 4 years, I think.
That's in January. I mean in February, isn't it? Is that what we're talking about?
Think about people that were born on leap year.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right. I don't know anybody that has.
You know, I can't think of anybody I know that was born on.
If you know me, call me and
February
tell me if you have
born on February 29th.
Our telephone number's at the bottom left of your screen.
So what do? They just celebrate their birthday on February 28th, probably?
I believe that's the way it works. I don't want to get into that. I don't know exactly.
Or they could do it on March 1st.
Yeah. Of course.
Probably the more accurate way to do it would be March 1st, because it's the day after February 28th, which would be March 1st. But I can't think of anybody I know that was born on February 29th.
Even Charles Bradshaw.
You know when he was born? He was born September whatever day. He was born on Coach Bryant's birthday. That's the way I could remember. Charles.
When was Coach Bryant
it's like
born?
the middle of September 9th or something. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Then his mother, I think Martha, her birthday is the end of January, which is the day Coach Bryant died.
Uh-huh. Well, that's true.
So the son was born on Coach Bryant's birthday, and then the mother was born on the day he died, and they were
Let me tell you
real
something
close
you
to
do.
the Bryants.
I'm going to tell you something you do, and you probably don't realize it. You're keeping, every time you mention Charles Bradshaw, your dear friend, you're keeping his name alive, and you're keeping him alive in our hearts. You know, that's I believe in that so much.
That's right.
I don't. If we
shy
talk
away
about somebody that is deceased on our show, and we're really, when we talk about them, we honor them. You know.
That's right. I agree.
And Charles Bradshaw was a very outstanding young man. Hey, the years he lived them well, didn't he?
Shoot, yeah, he had a great life, good life, and 2 wonderful kids, and a great wife, and great mother, and great father. And
yeah. Well, I know his mother. I knew his mother very well. A classy lady, a very classy lady.
She gave Crow Hill its name.
Yeah, she did. She sure did.
She lived on it. She lived in Alan Jones' house, and
yeah, you're right. They built that house.
They did?
Yes, sir. They built that house.
It was Martha Bradshaw then. She later married Al Gibbs and became Martha Gibbs.
Yep.
He's another great guy, too.
Hey, one of the great ones of all time, Al Gibbs. And
sure was.
Al Gibbs Sr. And
Al Gibbs Jr. is a great guy.
I remember he came over from Georgia. He was from somewhere over in Georgia. I want to say around Macon or somewhere. And he moved into Troy and stayed here 40 years, I reckon, no more.
Well, he made his mark in a hurry. I mean, he got real active in politics and became the mayor of the city of Troy.
And another classy man. Mm-hmm. When Al Gibbs married Martha. Those are two classy people walking down the streets of Troy. And you know, another one that I think of a lot is my buddy, Mr. Pat Boyd. Do you remember Mr. Pat Boyd? I used to play. I used to play golf with him.
Is that Bill Porter's father-in-law?
But and you just hit it on the nail. It's Bill Porter. What a great man Bill Porter is, and he's hanging in there, isn't he? I think he's still hanging.
Yes,
and of course,
he is a true gentleman.
Bill Porter, a great guy. He married a classy lady.
She was so sweet.
She died before he did.
I know it.
Or he hasn't died yet, but what a lovely lady she was. And then he meets a lady from Georgia who went to school with his first wife, and they fell in love and they got married.
That's good.
But Bill Porter, if you're watching out there, we were thinking about you.
He was an SA, I think, at Alabama, because like Judge Green and my dad was an SA.
That's right. That sure was.
So they were fraternity brothers.
Yeah.
He was a couple years older than my dad.
My brother Bill, who's not doing very well right now in Charleston, South Carolina, you talk about a good-looking guy, and any of those ladies out there who remember Bill Amos, they'll say the same thing.
He was probably about the same age as Bill Porter.
He looked like a movie star, and of course he went to Troy for a little ways, and then he joined the Air Force, and he was there for, gosh, I reckon close to 30 years. And retired in Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where he and his wife live. And his wife died a year ago yesterday. And, but now Bill is not doing well. I want you to pass that news to all you folks that knew him, that know him, and he's not doing very well in Charleston, and hopefully he can get better. I'm going to try to get up there to see him in the latter part of the week.
Good.
And spend some time with my dear brother. You know, brothers, older brothers especially, I'm going to say a couple of things, and I don't want to get emotional, but I could. You grow up a little boy, you have three brothers. You have one of them that's 12 years older than you are, and then you have another one that's 3 years older. And that's Joel, but 3 years older, younger than Joel, and who's a very
he's 3 years older
and upstanding man. But Bill would always come home when he was in the Air Force, and he'd bring that luggage in, and I'm sort of a little boy. There's my big brother. He comes home from the war. just exaggerating, but he did fly C-130s and C-141s in the war, Vietnam War. But he was my hero. You know, my big brother was my hero, and just the bringing in all his luggage, and he just had that same smell of his, in the air. And of course, he always treated us nice, and and probably one of the saddest moments ever when I was growing up was to see my brother had to pack up and leave and go away. Now he was probably excited about going away back into the Air Force and doing his duty for the nation. And but me as a little boy, that's my hero leaving, and I don't know when he'll ever come back. Will he come back Christmas or what?
And you didn't.
But
it was long distance phone calls were hard, and you didn't have the internet, so the only way you could keep up with him was with letters.
Yeah, we didn't know much about telephones back then, and but really, it was always a special day in my life when my brother would come home from the Air Force, but a sad day when he left.
I bet he lived all over the world in the Air Force.
Oh, he did. He lived there. I could probably tell you. I know he was stationed in Presque Isle, Maine. He was also lived out in California. That's where he spent most of his career, and he had raised a family out in Vacaville, California, down uphill toward Lake Tahoe from San Francisco.
Okay.
But had a beautiful area. He lived in the wine country.
Okay.
You know?
Beautiful there. Some of the prettiest country in America.
It sure was, and that's where he lived and raised his family. And but you know, he lived, went overseas. He was in Taiwan. You know, like I said, he flew these 131
cargo planes.
Cargo planes.
Big huge planes.
He flew these 130s. You know, and not the gunship, but these 130s that would go in and drop everything that they were, you know, whatever they were carrying.
Supplies, yeah.
And then scoop up and gone again. They don't actually stop.
Yeah,
they actually cruise in there and slide it out of the back end, and there you go. You're off again.
Was he a pilot or on the crew?
No, he was a well, he was an engineer.
Okay.
He was an engineer.
Flight engineer.
Yeah, so flight engineer. Yeah, and he, gosh, he's flown across the world, and he flew those C-141s. Were a big plane until they got the C-30 or C-130 out there. That C-130, you don't see them as much because they're just too darn big, don't you think?
Well, I've rarely seen them in person, but I've seen them on TV clips, and they're huge. Yeah.
We got through the weekend without a war, thank goodness. Hope wise
heads prevail.
Heads prevail. I tell you, I was concerned about that, and also what's happening in China. You know, we ended up going to China, and why not? You want to do it for those athletes that have been training all those years. You know, I just hope politics doesn't get involved in the thing over there. And,
I don't want to boycott any Olympics. Just like you say, these guys, people have been training for 4 years, and just go and compete. It's good for the world.
You know, I'm not a snow skier. Did you ever snow ski much?
A couple times.
I've been out there a few times
Guten Morgen.
And watched my friends snow ski, but not me. Good morning. How you doing?
Hey, morning. How are y'all?
What's going on in Grayton Beach, Florida? I believe that's what it says here. Grayton Beach, Florida. Who is this?
I'm taking your little granddaughter, Mary Prater, to kindergarten.
Hey, Mary Prater. How you doing this morning? This is Mikey.
She didn't get any sleep. She's sleepy there.
So she don't want to say anything? This is Mikey, Mary Prater. All my children call me Mikey.
I tell you what, Patrick Mahomes lost a lot of luster yesterday, man. I'll tell you what, he looked like he was a totally different quarterback in that second half compared to the first half.
Yeah. Well, tell me how that I didn't get to see much of that.
That's one of the most shocking losses I've ever seen in professional football yesterday.
Tell me about it.
Well, I had Burrow in Cincinnati, so
I know they were up by 21-3.
21-3, dominating the game. You give up a screen pass late in the half, and he goes for about, 45, 50 yards for a touchdown. And, this is the craziest play call I've ever heard in my life. They're down with no timeouts at the 1 yard line, and Andy Reid called like a little pass to the, left sideline to Hill, who of course can fly, but got two guys out there to bring him down. Tom, runs out before the half, and you don't get even a field goal in that situation.
I know that was.
I knew then that Cincinnati had a great chance to
come back
to win the game. That's such a momentum swing.
But
and it was 21-10 at the half, so 24-10. Probably should have been 28-10. And then Cincinnati's defensive coordinator, I don't know what his name is, but one of the greatest defensive turnarounds in a half you'll ever see. Just totally shut Kansas City down in the second half.
I know it. The key to beating them is keeping Mahomes in the pocket.
I kept up with it on the internet, but I watched the end of it when it got exciting. And man, you talk about keeping him in the pocket. He would just run around, and it was like backyard football. They couldn't touch him.
Yeah. Mike, we've got ice on our windshields in Troy. How about y'all?
That's not that bad. It's around 48.
Do you ever have ice? Did you have any ice last weekend, Graydon?
No. It got below freezing twice. So that's a big deal.
Getting back to snow skiing, I've snow skied about 3 or 4 times. I went to Vail, Colorado twice, which must be one of the finest places to snow ski in the world. And if anybody ever gets a chance to go to Vail or Breckenridge, go. It's worth the trip, buddy.
Just the beauty of it, yeah.
But I never was real good at it, but I could get up and do it. But I have dreams sometimes that I am a great snow skier, and I'm just flying down that mountain. Foo, foo. I mean, I don't know what that means, but the freedom you have and the speed and the scenery around you, there's something about snow skiing.
Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something very clear. It's not that I don't love snow skiing, and I have been up there before.
You've watched
and let me tell you this. You can get killed snow skiing, believe you me, and that's why I've never been back on those slopes.
You get a lot of people that go out there and get separated shoulders, break arms.
Well,
break legs.
and listen, and let's say you're going 35 or 40 miles down a cliff and you run into a tree. You reckon that's pretty dangerous?
Yeah, there's been. Who was that beautiful actress that? She died after a snow skiing accident.
Mike.
Sonny Bono.
This old boy has got me pat. Everything. Sonny Bono, got killed snow skiing.
Yeah, you're going so fast, and I was real worried about it when I went to Vail. I was in my mid-20s, maybe early 20s. First time I went twice. Because I'd had 2 football knee injuries, and so I had to train, and it was kind of nerve-wracking because of that. And then I just stuck to the basically to the baby easy slopes.
Yeah.
But I tell you, it's scenic. Vail, Colorado is a pedestrian-only village, no cars allowed, and you just ski right into the town. When I was there, Gerald Ford was famous for going to Vail, Colorado, him and his wife.
He liked to snow ski. Well, he was raised in Michigan, though. He must have been. Yeah.
We were there over Christmas season, and he was no longer president. He hadn't been president in a while, but he came and he lit the Christmas tree, and the Christmas tree was right outside of our condo hotel.
And you got to see it.
And his secret security detail came through our hotel on the floor we were on, and dang, Gerald Ford just walked right by me.
Everybody says he was one of the most down-to-earth presidents we've ever had. I reckon because he went in without a vote.
Yeah, interesting story.
Let me tell you.
Well, let me tell my other Vail story, then we'll get off of this.
No, we're not. I like it.
Bobby, he could ski a little bit better than me, I think, actually. But he was going up the
slope.
Well, not the slope, the chairlifts that take you up the slopes.
Now, let me tell you something. I've done that a lot. Now, listen.
It's hard to get off
I've done that.
I remember how nerve-wracking it was the first time you got off that chairlift, and you said, "Well, you got your skis on, and you got to ski off of it."
And you're supposed to get off, and you say, "Mike, when are you gonna get off?" I said, "Well, I'm enjoying riding the slopes."
But Bobby went up one time, and you know who was in front of him in the lift right before him?
No telling.
O.J. Simpson and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, you said it. Yeah. And then back then, they were just one happy couple, weren't they? I will say this, that I've done a little traveling in my business when I was out there regular. And every time I go to Scottsboro, my friends would want me to come back with some ski gear, whether it's not pants or just
unclaimed baggage.
Yeah, unclaimed baggage.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with unclaimed baggage, it's located in Scottsboro, Alabama.
You got to have a lot of stuff.
And if you've lost it, now this is the way it was in the old days. If you lost something in the airplane, this is where it went. This company bought it from the airlines, and because they didn't know who to give it to and so forth, so they would sell it in this store.
There?
Yes, it's still there, but it's a lot more expensive. But during those days, you could get stuff real cheap, especially ski equipment. you know, these guys going skiing that lost everything in the airplane, this is where it went, to Scottsboro, Alabama. This is nationwide now. And you're right. And it was dirt cheap, and you know, all the big name equipment and gear. And I would come home, and my buddies would want to know, what did you get me? What did you get me? You know, because I wasn't buying any of it for me. And I always.
I remember when we first time.
I fit a lot of skiers.
My mom and dad took us the first time. They didn't even bother skiing. But I remember Mom had to do a lot of work and talk to people that had been skiing and take us to stores to get all the stuff you got to have. So I thank you, Mom, for.
You know,
the last time I skied, I went to Springfield, Massachusetts to watch Troy play in the Elite Eight. Coach Maestry's team.
That's right.
They finished second in the country, and they had a ton of snow, but it was actually getting warm by the time we got up there, and the snow was melting, but there was still snow.
Yeah.
And so we went over to Holyoke or some little town right near Springfield, a couple group of guys I got to know when I was there, and there was a little mountain where you could ski.
Yeah.
And I remember I skied. It was sunny and probably 43 degrees.
Were you able to stay on those skis?
Yeah.
See, I've never been a big water skier. Did you?
No, I can't water ski.
Well,
but I skied that day. I skied in blue jeans.
Yeah. Well, you know, you did ski. You said I would have been afraid to get on those slopes. You know, going real fast.
But no, it's embarrassing.
I've ridden. Now look, I'm getting.
You can probably water ski good, can't you?
But no. I would get on these you know, little things that they drag you around with, some old scooters and all them.
Those are fun.
Yeah, I did, and I enjoyed it, sure did. And I don't know if any of my children ever actually went up on the slopes, but I tell you what, people that snow ski, they love it, and they want to go back and back and back.
Mm-hmm.
And Riley Sanders Truck Lines, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the great trucking companies in the world, located in Troy, Alabama.
A lot of ski territory right now, I bet.
No question about it. There's a lot of them going through
did you keep up with
icy weather up north.
Did you keep up with the big trucker strike in Canada this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. And listen, I'm seeing something that we got to be careful with. A little bit of non-American activity.
Well, I was pulling for the truckers convoy, but I was watching that there was tons of truckers are just basically formed a huge convoy and went to Ottawa, the capital of Canada, the protest, the vaccine mandates and the vaccine passports. But I was watching the footage, and two things impressed me. The crowds coming out on the roadways were huge of the Canadians that were supporting the truckers.
Yeah.
And then it was so cold. The wind chill was 32 degrees below zero.
Oh, man.
The temperature was below zero, the real temperature. And I would see these highways, and they were all just ice and snow covered. Yeah. And I started thinking about those truckers. How do they drive on that? I mean, that takes a lot of skill.
You know what I can't understand about all of this stuff, though, is why don't you get your shot and go on? Big deal. Are you being a baby about it? You know, go ahead and give you a shot. There's nothing wrong with giving it. I haven't heard of anybody that's actually hurt by getting a vaccine.
No, there's been the VAERS report says there's
not a lot of them.
More than 10,000 death reports.
Are you serious? For people that have already taken?
Yes, 1 million adverse event.
I'd like to see that in writing.
VAERS.
I'd like to see that in writing.
Now these are people that you can report if you think you've had a vaccine injury. You go to this website. Now this doesn't mean that you did have a vaccine injury, but some of it is individuals that said, you know, I had a blood clot or a stroke or facial paralysis or lost my child. But some of it is doctors and nurses that are reporting it too. Yeah. So what I say is if only 50% of the accounts are true, it's a big number. So you can't say that nobody has had any vaccine injury.
So you think this nation would have been better off without the vaccine? I want you to answer that question.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh boy!
Now I think because
thank goodness for the vaccine. That's all I got to say.
I think the young people that you're hearing about having injuries and cancers and blood clots and strokes and heart attacks, they had no risk from COVID. So, you know, it's the no. I'm not. If you think you want to get the vaccine, that's fine. If you're higher risk and older and have.
Yes. All right. Let's go to our lines. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
I'm just calling back in.
Yeah, Mike Amos calling in from Great Beach, Florida. Did you get them in school this morning?
Yeah. I got Mary Peter dropped off. It's my first time dropping off today. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I pick up all the time, but never drop off.
Well, I rode by there the other day where she goes to school. She goes to a huge school, and it's ultra modern school. Mike, tell them about that school. It's a state of the art school, and
Yeah, brand new elementary school. It's called Dune Lakes Elementary. It's right off 98. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's like a high school for, I mean, most places, but state of the art, to say the least. I can't believe my little 5-year-old goes to school here, but
I know it. When I look at it, I say she's got to be scared in the morning. It bothers me.
well, she goes to school of it's K through 5. So I guess that's
so she's at K5. Is that right?
Well, she's kindergarten through fifth grade.
How old is she?
She turned 5 in August, so she's the youngest in her class.
Yes, that was. You know, Maggie had has an August birthday, and she was the youngest in her whole school. We started her at kindergarten at Montgomery Academy, and we lived up there.
Oh boy!
And you know what? When she finished, I noticed she was a lot smaller, and then a lot of parents hold their children back. So there were 7-year-old kids. I mean, there were.
And that's the best time to do it.
And anyway, so her teacher recommended after she finished that she ought to do kindergarten again at Montgomery Academy. I said, the heck with that. But then we moved to Troy and started free kindergarten at Troy Elementary, and so we did let her do it again. So she's no longer the youngest. Now she's one of the oldest.
Give me an idea of the tuition at a school like Montgomery Academy.
For kindergarten, it was about over $12,000 a year.
$12,000 a year.
It's a lot more.
Cash out of your pocket.
It's a lot more expensive for first grade through 12th grade. It was cheaper for kindergarten. I remember that. So I don't think I could have continued it for very long.
On and on.
We had preschool in Birmingham. We're spending $2,000 a month for preschool. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Well, you think a kid is in school for a kid is in
$4,000 a year.
Whoa!
A kid is in school for what, 9 months of school, and then it's approximately $12,000. So that's about $1,200 a month.
Now, you know, the big thing is now is the after school. You're not only sending them to school up till about 3 o'clock, then the after school comes in and you're paying another tuition. Is that right?
Yeah. If you did that.
We have both hours in aftercare every day, and till like 5 o'clock. But
do they seem like they're having fun? Do they seem like they're having fun?
I mean, I guess. I don't think they know any better now. So.
That's just a way of life, isn't it?
Big basketball win by Troy. Man, I was awfully proud to see them beat South Alabama. I mean, South Alabama just destroyed Troy on Thursday night, and Troy was up by 20 on South Alabama with about 6 minutes to go, and then South Alabama, I guess, cut it to 9.
Yeah, they're good.
Winning by 9, but I've said it all year. The best player on Troy's team is Duke Miles, the kid out of Robert E. Lee High School, and he proved it in that game. Because, you know,
is that number 11? Number 11?
The other guard didn't even play. Duke Dean.
I know it.
Had a, I guess, ankle or knee injury for Troy.
And see, he would have been good, yeah.
Eventually.
He would have been good in that pressure when they were pressing all over the field. Duke Dean could bring it up court, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that was an awesome win against a very good basketball team that's number one in the conference. When you have a big crowd and you didn't lay an egg, you rose to the occasion without this really great point guard. Super impressive. Congratulations, Trojans.
Exactly. And, you
know. Coach Cross, you know, had a phenomenal record when he was at Texas Arlington. Of course, first year Troy won 9 games. Second year he won 11 games. Now you're 14-7.
I tell you what,
Chance to win 20 games this year.
Yeah, Mike, I tell you something that happened that most people did not see. And the reason I saw it, but I sit right behind the visitors' bench, or we'll sit just a few feet from it, and probably the best seat in the whole place.
I'll sat with you.
But something that these kids coach walked up to, they were at the free throw line, and just in the waiting minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes left to go, and the coach said, he said, I'm going to send my players onto the locker room directly after the game. And what he was telling us, you know how the teams after the game, walk by and everybody shakes everybody's hands, from the coaches to all the players. He held his players back. They didn't even walk across it, Mike. And I thought it was
he just sent them to the locker room.
He sent them to the locker room. I thought it was a lack of class. So I mean, Troy deserved to be able to make that walk and shake those hands. We're the victor.
I bet Troy shook their hands after they beat Troy.
And then Troy had a double. And what we're talking about is after the game, the two teams are shaking hands like this all the way through.
Every game.
And then they go to the dressing room. But he kept his players from doing that, and I thought it was a lack of class. It really did.
Yeah, he beat Troy 7 in a row. South Alabama's coach had, and I read his comments after the game. He said, "We've never been beaten by these dudes before, so that they outplayed us tonight. They deserve to win." That was his comment.
Yeah, these dudes. He called us a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we're gonna get it. Listen, you put that on the wall over there, you bunch of dudes.
Coach Cross, of course, got ejected on Thursday night. Didn't even finish the game. But big, huge win for Troy. Beat South Alabama. South Alabama, I think, is still probably the best team in the Sun Belt. So Troy might see him again in Pensacola in the conference tournament.
You know, that would be a great tournament if Troy ends up with a good seed in that tournament.
And then Troy had 2 games that were canceled because of COVID, so they probably would have won those games.
And those were two very good teams, though, that they canceled out on. And they're not going to play any of those games, Mike. I wonder why.
It's just, they came out and said COVID games, once they're canceled, they will not be played. It's the rules in the conference. So it did hurt Troy tremendously because Troy was on a hot streak and had already won the 2 games of the 4-game homestand. So be interesting to see how Troy plays on the road, though. Georgia State's always a really tough place to play in Atlanta, and then you got to play Georgia Southern, and Georgia Southern's always been a really hard team for Troy to beat as well.
Yeah, no question about it. When do they play at Georgia Southern?
I think Saturday.
The big basketball game coming up is Alabama and Auburn have a rematch on Tuesday. Auburn went into Tuscaloosa and beat the Tide a couple weeks ago. And both won in this SEC Big 12 shootout tournament they have. Auburn easily beat Oklahoma at home, and Alabama upset Baylor, the defending national champion.
How did that happen, Mike? Did you watch it on TV?
Yeah, I watched the whole game. Baylor's, I guess, one of their guards didn't play, which was huge. He had an injury, and he averaged, I guess, 14 a game. And
boy.
Alabama just came out and played lights out. I mean, their guards played great. Quinterly played good. Stackhouse played good. The Davidson kid, the the freshman phenom, had a great game. And
is he really good, Michael? Is Davidson really a good player?
He's got great potential, but he's not there yet. I mean, he's going to be a first-round pick because he's just so athletic and there's so much potential there. But he's been very average to me. He's only averaging like 8 points a game.
Yeah.
But that was a huge win.
He's a real waiting to happen, though. The guy can jump out of the gym. He's only about 6'3", 6'4".
You know, and when they go to the line and everything, you say, well, that's the guy that played in the national championship game. You know, they get real, the tournament, you get real personal with these players. You know exactly who he is, where he's from, whatever.
You know, I read a story about, the former Alabama player that's having a real good rookie season is Herb Jones. He was the SEC Player of the Year last year. Funny, he's not really a scorer. He's just a good all-around player and especially a defender. But this story was raving about his rookie year. That he wasn't even drafted until the second round, but he is getting a lot of minutes. I think he's playing for the Pelicans in New Orleans. Yeah. And since they have started playing him more, that team has just completely turned around.
Michael, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back. Brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. If you want a career in the trucking industries, no way other than Wiley Sanders Truck Lines in Troy, Alabama. Health Actions, Physical Therapy. We appreciate them. I've done a lot of work with them. Great people.
I wonder if Wiley Sanders trucks go up to Canada.
Oh yeah, they go everywhere. I don't know about if you go down to Mexico or not, but I would think they went into Canada, but I'm not sure about that. We can bring my buddy Jeffrey Bennett on the line on the show one day, and he can tell us. Of course, today we cut it 15 minutes short because of the Wiley Sanders Truck Line show. We'll be right back with more of Today in L.A.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
The Walmart Distribution Center in Brundage is now hiring. We've extended our $2,000 signing bonus until the end of January 2022. And you can go back to school with our Live Better You program. Apply online today.
Our community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio just off the square in Troy.
Going to come back and to Troy and then go to the beach.
All right, here we are.
Back to our show, brought to you by Noble Manor for assisted living. No better place to go than Noble Manor on Botts Avenue. And Piggly Wiggly, let me tell you, they'll cut you any steak you want, and it is pretty. They trim it the way you're supposed to trim a steak, and it's delicious.
We're having tacos tonight or tomorrow, Taco Tuesday, and Kerry went to Piggly Wiggly and got us our hamburger.
So everybody's excited about tacos or tacos or whatever you call them?
Make our tacos. I rarely buy
the whole family's excited about it. Tonight's taco night.
Steaks are out of my price range now. Although I do now have a barbecue grill. Let me tell you. Frank's probably watching. Frank Fryer. They bought this house off of Butter and Egg Road.
Beautiful.
And their neighbor is retired from Lockheed Martin. Had his house for sale, and before he was selling his house, he wanted to clean out his garage, and so he took all this great stuff from his garage to the street. He was going to throw it away.
Oh yeah.
One thing was a pressure washer that completely works. And
Are
another
you
thing was
serious?
this gas grill that, as far as we know, all it needs is one of those propane tanks.
Yeah.
And so Frank said, "Come on, Bill, come on." And so we went over there, at 9 o'clock at night, and got the grill and got the pressure washer and moved it in his garage. And now he's moved it over to my house, so I can cook a steak now.
I can't help but I just sort of visualize those two grown men going over there and robbing that.
Well, let me see. Frank came over with a helper of his, and we cleaned out my garage this weekend. And I had an old dryer that I don't think it worked, but maybe it still did. Maybe it was just, I'm not sure it didn't work. It might have worked, but it was a dryer that was in my garage for a year. Well, we moved it out to the street with all the junk and boxes and old toys. And Frank said somebody will get that. And I swear, I bet it hadn't been an hour. And I looked out there on that street, and that dryer was gone.
And and it probably lacked some little small item.
Yeah, I think so. They got it still.
They got it still. It was free, wasn't it?
And then all the good stuff it's now gone.
Now, and of course, you live in one of the nice streets in Troy, and I reckon they still call it by its name.
Well, I live on South Hillcrest Boulevard. Yeah. There is a North Hillcrest Boulevard, but I live near the right next door to the Webb's house, which I would say the house and yards and grounds
probably prettiest in Troy. You're right.
Might be the prettiest in Troy, and so and so my house is just normal and small, but man, I've got a beautiful view to the side of me. And then across the street from me is the house that the Hudsons redid when they moved from Flavia Circle.
I used to tell you the lady that lived there, she lived there for a long time, and I used to remember it. But at the same time, and I'm not going to say what for, I'm not going to say what for at all, but congratulations to you folks that just got through a business transaction, and they're going to have a great time traveling across the world now, I would think.
Taking care of their playing with their grandkids.
Yeah, exactly right, and good people.
Being involved more in the community.
Yeah. Of course, it is the first day. Is this the first day or the last day?
It's the last day.
Last day of January. And if you, of course, exciting.
We go from a day that had 31 days in the month to a day that has 28 days in the month.
Mike, you on the phone? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm back. I had to come back into the house.
Anytime you can retire, I think it's a fun time. And again, congratulations. Want to mention all of our sponsors, and of course, Bill Jackson, Chevrolet, Ford in Troy, and also First Citizen Bank of Luverne, Steve Sanders, William Petrie, and all the great people at an outstanding local bank, First National Bank of Luverne, and Sarah.
They said I watched the game on TV, the Troy South Alabama game. They claimed the third largest crowd in basketball history.
It was Mike. It was a big crowd. I would say 4,500 probably.
Yeah, that's what they said. It was over 4,500, which I guess the arena holds what, 5,500?
Yeah, about like that. And it was a crowd, a big crowd. It really was.
I'm from Troy, love Troy. Moved away from Troy, and then back in Troy. Moved away for about 12 years. But that arena has to be one of the most impressive structures that brings me more pride than anything in Troy. That is a first-class basketball arena, man.
And the thing about it, they didn't go halfway with it. They did it. They did it. I mean, we're talking about. You walk down those around that corridor there, and look at the stonework and things like that.
I know, it's all everything.
They didn't miss any.
When they build something, they build it nice.
They sure do. They really do.
The architects are great, and the builders are great.
And I got to visit with Dr. Jack Hawkins. He had another agenda prior to the game, so I know it was killing him because the South Alabama game is real important to him because he was raised at Murphy High School in Mobile.
He's always been a big basketball fan.
But he had his tuxedo on and looks classy. I tell you, he's one of the classiest looking and carrying himself the way he does of any guy I know or ever known any much of any time. But he, like I said, he had to get there late, and I know he was excited about that crowd, and even though he got there late, but he had to be there for the Miss Troy contest.
Oh,
it was the Miss Troy contest. Think how many people were there.
That's right.
That would have been at the basketball game. It probably would have sold it out.
Miss Troy has got a great tradition itself.
It really does. Let me tell you, I used to go to that.
Bob Howell still coming?
I don't even know if Bob Howell's still alive. I reckon he is.
He works at Alabama State. He's on the journalism faculty at Alabama.
He's a good guy.
He heads it up.
Yeah, he's a real good guy. And but he had to do that, and I don't know who won the. We'll find some information that'll tell us that who is Miss Troy University for the next year.
Alabama's hired a new offensive line coach, Doug Marrone, who was a former NFL head coach, was Alabama's offensive line coach last year. Hired a guy named Eric Walford. He coached at Kentucky last year, and was at South Carolina's Will Muschamp's offensive line coach for 4 years as well.
Well, that's good.
Where's the Marrone going?
I imagine back to the NFL, I would think.
Well, I wonder if his best buddy is going to stay on as offensive coordinator.
Him and Bill O'Brien are best friends, so it does make you wonder what's going to happen to O'Brien as well.
Let me tell you, the Troy. Let me just say this: Troy University's coaches all came out at halftime. They introduced every one of them, and the coach started speaking. And Buddy, hey, he didn't hold anything back. He used some superlatives, a lot of superlatives. But Buddy, hey, if you can't get fired up for this guy, you need to find another place to play. This guy is a hands-on headhunter type coach, and very impressive. I mean, I'm talking about very impressive the way he carries himself. And he carries himself. Hey, let me tell you something. Hey, hard-nosed superlatives.
Well, that was a smart touch to let him speak to the crowd at the biggest game we've had attendance-wise in years, and he introduced his staff.
And I bet he had 16 or 17 people on his staff.
One of them, I talked about the house next door to Frank and Liz that sold. Yeah. It was an assistant football coach that bought it.
Yeah, he's got a place to fish right behind his house.
Yeah, they got a pond right behind the house.
You can slide out in a little boat and have a good time. Of course, we want to mention.
I got one about Bruce Pearl's new contract, 8 years for $50 million.
What? Bruce Pearl? I tell you what.
Bruce Pearl has a contract for life, is what they're calling it. Even though it's for only 8 years. I don't understand how you say contract for life, but it's 8 years, $50.2 million.
Oh, boy. Isn't that unreal? Whoa.
Pearl makes $5.4 million annually. Towards the end of his contract, he'll make close to $7 million a year.
Yeah, that was the best hire Auburn has made in a long time.
Well, you know what, though? The portal. Everybody's getting these players out the portal.
He knows how to recruit. He knows how to use the portal. He knows how to develop players. Yeah. He knows how to promote the program. That's the first thing he did is get people to start coming out to the games.
Let me tell you. Let's say there's a guy from.
There's only 3 coaches in America in basketball, college basketball, to make more than Bruce Pearl. Who do you think those 3 coaches are?
One of them coaches at Duke. One of them. I know that one coach is at Baylor.
This guy's the best dressed coach in college basketball.
Oh, okay. Oh, who would that be?
Everybody thinks he's in the movie star.
Oh, the guy at North at
Villanova.
Villanova, yeah, he's a sharp guy. But you know
and then the other guy beat Kansas this weekend by 20 at Kansas.
Oh, Kentucky's coach, yeah.
John Calipari.
You mean they played Kansas?
Blew them out. I should have mentioned that.
They beat them by 20. Yeah. It was the Big 12 SEC showcase.
Now tell me this: if there
SEC went 6-4 in that, and then Tennessee lost at the last second, I think, or it would have been 7-3.
Who do they lose
Yeah,
to?
LSU got beat by TCU. That was kind of surprising.
Oh, okay. Well, who beat Tennessee? Texas, I think.
Texas. Rick Barnes' former team beat him.
Let me say this: there's no question who the most handsome guy in college football is. He coaches for San Francisco, and he looks like a movie star. Now, tell me if that's not a handsome dude. He didn't win the game, but boy, all the ladies liked him, I'm sure.
You talking about
The coach.
what's his name?
The quarterback for San Francisco.
The quarterback, Garoppolo.
Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, don't y'all think he looks like a movie star?
Is he pretty? Yeah, he does.
You said the coach.
I said the coach.
Well, you meant the quarterback, yeah.
Oh, the quarterback. I'm sorry. The quarterback for San Francisco looks like don't you think he looks like the movie star?
I've never.
Yeah, Clooney. He looks a lot like Clooney, doesn't he? A young George Clooney. But
I tell you what, man, that was another great game last night. I thought when San Francisco went up 17-7 with I guess about a minute left in the third quarter, they were going to win it. Man, the Rams came back.
let me just say this, and I was proud for Stafford. I watched him play in college, and he was a good quarterback with the Lions, but he did everybody around him. But now he does. But I'll tell you this. I thought this wide receiver that I want you to tell you this now. He has his credentials is the best wide receiver that has ever lived. Can you believe that?
That Krupp guy?
Yeah, he caught passes for over 2,000 yards. Isn't that right, Mike?
He's been amazing the last couple of years. Yeah.
Name's Cooper Cup.
Yeah,
Cup.
Cooper Cup, and ladies and gentlemen,
awesome.
Mike. I don't think anybody has ever caught.
You know where he played college ball?
Eastern Washington. Oh, is that on the red field? That's on the red field.
It's on the east part of Washington.
That's right.
They play on a red field.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 1AA powerhouse.
Yeah, and but Cooper Cup was a great receiver, but his I thought I was not hearing it right, but ladies and gentlemen, of all time, his credentials.
How many years has he been in the NFL?
I can look. Odell Beckham Jr. had a pretty good game too.
Hey, he proved his worth. That's the first time I've ever seen him really play well.
Well, they've got some players on the Rams. Rashawn Robinson, that was a good defensive lineman at Alabama, is a good defensive lineman for the Rams.
See, I didn't know him. Now, he was not even a well-known name at Alabama.
Well, he was a big nose guard type.
He's first-round pick.
What?
He was the guy that when he was 19 years old, he looked like he was about 35.
Yeah. This is today in L.A.
Cooper Cup is 28 years old.
28 years old.
He got drafted in 2017. He was a third-round pick. Out of Eastern Washington. He grew up in a place I know well, Yakima, Washington. I've been there many a time.
Have you really? When you yeah. Okay. Now, give us some stats on him that make him what they call the greatest receiver of all time.
I have not heard him.
No,
well, probably for a year or two, his numbers would, if he could keep producing those numbers, would.
Well, his numbers.
He had 145 catches for 1,947 yards and 16 touchdowns.
And then last night he broke that.
That is amazing. 145 catches for 1,900 yards.
That doesn't count what he did last night, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Leading the NFL in three categories. Cubs 1,965 yards per scrimmage were the most ever in the NFL season by a wide receiver, surpassing Calvin Johnson's record for 2012.
Shouldn't he be an MVP candidate?
It's one of the five unanimous selections to the NFL's 2001 first-team All-Pro team, and it's the first receiver ever to accumulate 2,000-plus receiving yards combined in regular season and postseason. Now he has 2,191 yards.
Boy, oh boy, 2,000. There it is. That's a record that nobody's ever even gotten close to.
I know. He needs to be the MVP. I've been hearing Brady should be MVP or Rodgers. Well, what about this guy?
Yeah, I know it. I love Stafford. He's just he didn't know what it is to win all those games because he played on the Giants. But you know who played with him on the Giants? I mean, excuse me, on the Lions, Mike? Was Johnson, the great receiver.
Yeah.
So the guy that had previously had the record for most yards in one game.
This is building up to be a great year for sports fans from Georgia. The Braves win the World Series after, what, a 20-year drought, 25-year drought?
Yeah.
The Georgia Bulldogs win a national championship after a 41-year drought. And now the probably a good chance that the winning Super Bowl quarterback is going to be a Georgia alum.
You know, the San Francisco.
Listen to Cooper Kupp's numbers. I mean, how in the world was he not a first-round pick? In 2013 at Eastern Washington, he played in 15 games. He had 93 receptions for 1,691 yards, 21 touchdowns as a freshman.
In high school, I mean, in college.
No, in college.
Yeah, in college, yeah.
Next year, in 2014, he had 13 games played. He had 104 receptions for 1,431 yards and 16 touchdowns. His junior year, he had 114 catches for 1,642 yards and 19 touchdowns. And then his senior year, he had 117 catches for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. In his career at Eastern Washington, he had 428 receptions for 6,464 yards, and he caught 73 touchdowns.
Oh, God, it's
Those
unreal.
stats are
But
mind-boggling.
now listen, Mike, the key to it is Eastern Washington played 14 or 16 or 15 games each year. They were in the playoffs.
You would play that in an SEC school.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. But no, these.
Oh, he shattered what Devontae Smith did in that, and he did it every year for 4 years.
Mike, what I was talking about, you know, they play 4 or 5 games in the playoffs, so he got every year his team was in the playoffs, so he actually played in way more games than anybody else too. Don't you agree?
Oh no, I mean if Alabama plays 12 regular season games, they go to Atlanta, they play the SEC championship game, that's 13 games. They play 2 playoff games, that's 15 games. It's just the same number of games.
Maybe but that's just for 4 teams, so you know, or whatever.
Well, I mean, if you play the SEC championship game and you play a bowl, you know you're going to play at least 14.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming up on 8 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? They're getting ready to go to school, and yours are already in school. Is that right? Most people are already in school.
Isn't that ridiculous? We have to drop our daughter off at 7:35 where she's starting.
Oh gosh. Now, do y'all don't have a bus that buses them to school?
Oh, there's buses down here, but we don't do it. We don't do the buses.
Well, I think she's awfully young to have to get on one of those buses and not know anybody. I think about her all the time. Her name is Mary Prater. And say a little prayer for her every morning. She's a great little girl.
I prayed for her this morning because she could barely get out of the car. She was still half asleep.
Well, you remember poor Forrest Gump when he got on that school bus the first time, and nobody would let him sit down, but there was one little sweet girl that said, "You can sit here with me."
Well, bless her heart.
And her name was Jenny.
Exactly. And,
hey, you know, I met Winston Grove in Tuscaloosa when I was working at the University of Alabama, and I got him to sign a book for me, and all I did with that book is give it to my girlfriend at the time. I guess I probably should have kept that.
Yes, you should have.
I want to say good morning to a good friend of mine, Doug Carmichael, who lives in up there on the lake, Gunnersville, and I tell you, a great friend of mine, and was an outstanding basketball player at Troy back in the mid-'60s. He was mid to late 60s, and of course he was a forward. He was 6'5", weighed about 220 pounds, and he played forward next to a guy named Steve Holly and another guy named Lamar Andrews were their top 3 players up front for that Troy team coached by John Archer. And but he was a great one out of Murphy High School in Mobile. Doug Carmichael watches our show and listens to it every morning. And good morning and welcome to our show, Doug Carmichael. We'll be looking forward to talking to you.
He would like watching this Troy team we have this year.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. And of course, you know,
the Lady Trojans won. They beat Georgia State.
Boy, they know how to win, don't they?
Yeah,
And where will that tournament? Will it be also in Pensacola?
Yeah, that's right. Troy is now 16-7, 7-2 in the Sun Belt.
OSU has got, our coach has done a great, fantastic job with that program.
How in the world has Troy been able to keep her there? I mean, NCAA tournaments you've been to now, 3, 4?
Yeah, that's right. And of course, you know, be honest with you, if you look it up, she makes a pretty good salary at Troy, but now she's not into some of these huge numbers, but she makes a good living at Troy. Her husband is the head coach at Eufaula High School.
She has turned a program around that was one of the worst programs probably in the country before she got there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing the job she's done as a women's basketball coach at Troy.
This is exactly right. Of course, it is.
Well,
I'm
I'm fired about Troy's basketball team has had a turnaround year this year under Coach Cross in his third year. That's usually when it happens, the third year. Charles Henderson could compete for a state championship.
Well, they sure could, and they've got a
Pike
very
Liberal
good
Arts
team.
is the favorite to win the state championship.
And they've got a very good team.
And then we went through the top 10 that was in the Dothan Eagle of other teams in our area. There's a lot of good for Enterprise and Ayrton and so on and so
Long
on.
High School of Skipperville. There's a lot of good
A lot
ones.
of
You're
teams
right.
that could have dreams of winning the state championship in basketball.
And then as we, we're able to, on this show every morning, sort of relate to you on different things that you might not have seen or we saw or you saw or whatever. But it was a great weekend to be a fan of pro football. And, you know, the amazing thing about it, Mike, and tell me about this. Almost every game played in the playoffs has been won by 3 points. Is that right? I mean, both of those yesterday.
It's uncanny the number of NFL games that are decided by a field goal. That's why if you want to buy that half point, you got to pay a premium.
Yeah, but I tell you what, and of course that half point makes a big difference, and they throw that 3.5 out at you. And I'm gonna do some back checking on it to find out the actual line on each game, and I bet I'll find out.
The line last night was, of course, an odd. It was 3.5. The Rams were at 3.5, and then the Chiefs Bengals game went down to 7 at kickoff.
Yeah, that was where it was, but it was 3.5. Then I wanted to check, make sure.
I got it at 3.
It was 3.5, but I mean, you got if you're going to be dealing with 3.5, you got to buy the point.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Buy a half point, or you got. Usually they won't let you buy on a pro game. Pro games are weird sometimes. Sometimes you can't get it down to 2.5. They'll only let you get to 3.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're bet San Francisco, you could have bet San Francisco up to 5.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who probably did that.
Yeah. You know, let me tell you this. There was, to me, clearly the Rams were better than the 49ers. Jimmy who, however you pronounce his last name, will not.
But they lost 7 straight games to San Francisco.
Yeah, that's right.
San Francisco had dominated the Rams.
But you know what? Jimmy Garoppolo is not a very good quarterback. But Mike, he'll be gone. He won't be their quarterback next year. He can't make things happen.
Trey Lance is not ready. The North Dakota State quarterback's not ready.
Well, I'm thinking
the only thing I would do is I'd go get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's right. They might go get him. And if they went and got him, that would be a smart move. And see, he grew up a San Francisco
that would be a smart
fan.
Move. Let him play 1 or 2 years and then bring in one.
Yeah.
You know that's exactly right, Mike. And that's going to cost him a little money, but it also could cost him a Super Bowl, going to a Super Bowl, if he could go there. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, Lawrence Tynes, Troy's former kicker, Lawrence Tynes, kicked for the Giants, and he made national headlines last week, bashing Aaron Rodgers and saying he'll take 10, talking about Eli Manning any day of the week when it comes to the playoffs and winning Super Bowls, and basically Lawrence Tynes was saying how basically Aaron Rodgers puts up great numbers during the regular season, but he chokes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny that Lawrence Tynes, and all people, a kicker, Of course, former Troy player, made national headlines, praising Eli Manning. And
Eli did win two world championships,
He
didn't he?
sure did.
yeah.
And he did it with sort of a crazy coach. I used to love to watch the coach, on some.
You talking about Tom Coughlin?
Oh yeah, he was a personality, but he was hard nosed, and he made them play hard.
He had that had great defensive linemen, including O.C. Umanyora
That's
from
right.
Troy.
Sure did.
And at one time they had Cornelius Griffin from Brundage.
3 guys win the Super Bowl. Isn't that amazing?
Cornelius Griffin played in I think he might have played in 2 Super Bowls. He didn't. He played for the Giants and the Redskins.
Okay,
I think he played in the Super Bowl for the Giants.
Tell us, Mike, who you're talking about. You talking about where?
On the Super Bowl winning team for the Giants, Lawrence Tynes was starting place kicker, and you had O.C. Muir starting defensive tackle, and then you had Jarrell Jernigan playing wide receiver and kick returner.
On that same, did he play on that same team with them?
Yeah, when they won their last Super Bowl,
Yeah,
Jernigan was on the team. He actually almost returned a kickoff back for a touchdown that game.
Yeah, that's amazing. Then
But I'm just saying, small little Troy, Alabama, Troy University had 3 guys on a one team.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing on a Super Bowl winning team.
Oh yeah, that's something. So lots going on, and of course in 2 weeks now. Don't look for it this week, but in 2 weeks is the Super Bowl, and
I was at a restaurant. This is hilarious to me. I was at a restaurant. I was in there with my wife. We had some friends that we were meeting, and we were watching the end of the game of the Chiefs and Bengals. And I swear to God, every single fan in there was just going nuts, pulling for Cincinnati. And I finally just turned and asked these people next to us. I was like, "Are y'all from Cincinnati?" I thought they were like snowbirds, and they're like, "No, honey, we're pulling for Joe Burrow." And I said, "Y'all are huge LSU."
yeah, LSU fans.
So everybody in that, and there's played 200 people in that place. Everybody was like an LSU fan because there's so many LSU and Louisiana transplants down here going crazy for Joe Burrow.
Let me
I'm
tell
not
you
surprised
this.
there's tons. When I go down there, I see a ton of people from Louisiana. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
But I will say this: Joe Burrow is without a doubt the classiest young quarterback, or the classiest quarterback in the NFL, bar none.
He's cool.
He could walk in any circle.
Super classy. He's really
He's just a sharp, classy guy where he carries himself too, and things he says.
When they beat Alabama that one year, won the national championship. I mean,
well, they were proud. They were proud, Mike.
Alabama has dominated LSU. I mean, what is it? They won one game the last 9-10 years.
Yeah, but that team was one of the best ever.
That team probably was the best talent-wise ever. I think they had 14, 15 draft picks off that team.
Yeah, so there's a lot of players in the state of Louisiana, no question about it. Of course,
Burrow was a backup quarterback at Ohio State, and actually got coached by Corey Dennis.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't think Corey Dennis was a full-time assistant yet, but he was like a graduate assistant or something. Yeah.
But we need to get Corey on the phone, and I know him well, and I'm gonna get him on the phone very soon and get him to tell us about all this stuff, because he's actually the offensive quarterback coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes, and
everybody says that LSU team is the best ever, and they might be, but they beat Alabama by 6 points. When Tua Tagovailoa is playing on about 65, 70% foot with all kind of fluke plays. Credit to them coming into Alabama Stadium and doing that, but they weren't that much better than Alabama actually. And I still think that if Alabama could have beaten Auburn in the last game with Mac Jones, which Alabama should have done, if Alabama had had a rematch with LSU, it would be 50-50, a coin flip, I think.
Mike, how many players did freshmen did Alabama have, are actually playing for the first year in the NFL? How many do they have?
Alabama had 6 make all-pro team.
What now?
Mac Jones is now going to play in the Pro Bowl because one of the quarterbacks.
Isn't that amazing? Well, that is great. I'm liable to watch that Pro Bowl. Normally, I wouldn't even watch it.
Also, Mac Jones' offensive coordinator will no longer be there. Josh McDaniels will be the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Well, I hate for him to have to go through that. I mean, it's tough playing. It'll be just like starting over almost.
I saw where Dabble, that was at Buffalo, had been the offensive coordinator at Alabama, is now the New York Giants head coach. So yet another Saban disciple.
I'll tell you what, they hire, all of them hire from within, don't they? There's no question. I mean, you're liable to be on a 16th or 18th or 20th team in the pros, and then the next year you might be playing in a Super Bowl like Cincinnati.
Well, didn't the Tennessee coach, he was on the Giants staff, wasn't he? Pruitt?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Wasn't Freddie Kitchens, didn't he go over there? Or Mike Shula might have been. So that's the nature of that profession.
Michael, where is Shula now?
How funny is this? I was reading an article. Down in Florida, they have iguanas, and apparently iguanas freeze and fall from trees when it's cold outside. Can you imagine seeing these iguanas falling from trees? That would freak me out tremendously. Big old lizard.
Yeah. You see iguanas? You see iguanas?
Only time I've ever seen them is when I've been in Key West. You see them all around Key West. Walking around.
Yeah, I guarantee you, that's the ugliest animal in the world, or a reptile, or whatever you call them.
Well, you see a lot of gators in Florida. That's for sure. You see a lot of gators in Alabama.
But I tell you,
we saw an alligator that had been run over in Braden. Not too long ago. I guess it was probably about 3 or 4 months ago.
Well, on Front Beach Road, Michael, I saw one running down the road there.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, just right in the middle of
a gator in the middle of the road.
No, not a gator, but a deer.
Oh, a deer.
Right, right in the middle of the road, though, right up there, Pier 1.
The deer are everywhere, too. Well, the deer are everywhere. The gators are everywhere. The fire ants are everywhere. And Will told us, we had a conversation on another show about what happened to quail. It used to be everywhere. And Will said the fire ants got them, started getting the eggs of the quail. And I said, well, that makes sense, because there's a fire. If you ride down the highway going to the beach, and you look on the shoulder side of the road, you are going to see a fire ant bed about once every 4 steps.
No question about it. But
Mike Shula was quarterback coach for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. Well,
of course, they wasn't a great team, but he's with the Broncos.
They just fired their coach too. So I don't know if he's there anymore. But Mike Shula is now 56 years old.
He's my age.
I tell you what, I use that word class. He was pretty much of a class act. I thought he was excellent as far as role model for kids.
He did the best
he carried himself, yeah. We hope you've enjoyed our show.
He just wasn't ready on game day, though. Unfortunately, he had deer in the headlights too many times. Yeah.
Well, and of course, I hope you've enjoyed our show today. You're brought to you by some wonderful people, Alabama Real Estate Connection, located on the bypass in Troy. And a real outstanding place to go to eat chicken, and it's Goldfinger's right there on the bypass in Troy. Of course, we appreciate Wiley Sanders Truck Lines for being on our show, and of course being a part of our show. And of course, now get ready for the Wiley Sanders Trucking show, brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines in Troy, Alabama. Have a good day.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Shipping Wars is back and bigger than ever.
More work, more money.
These shippers have a long road ahead. Who will come out on top?
If we can get it there on time, we'll make some good money.
Shipping